Energize Your Passion, the podcast that's all about bringing positive energy into your life. I'm your host, Sunshine, and today we're diving into a topic that speaks to the soul: the healing power of exploring new places. If you've ever felt stuck in a rut or weighed down by the routines of everyday life, you're not alone. Sometimes the best way to refresh our minds and hearts is by stepping into new surroundings. Now, before you start picturing extravagant vacations, let me assure you, exploring new places isn't just about hopping on a plane. It can be as simple as driving a new route home, visiting a park you've never been to, or even striking up a conversation with someone from a different walk of life. In this episode, we'll talk about why new environments can be so healing, how they can spark personal growth, and how you can harness the power of exploration, even if you can't travel far. We've also got some amazing listener stories lined up that highlight the transformative impact of stepping into the unknown. So buckle up, because the episode is going to take us on a journey of renewal, discovery, and inspiration. Segment 1: Why New Environments Have a Healing Effect. There's something magical about stepping into a new space. It's like a reset button for the mind and soul. Scientifically, new environments stimulate the brain, sparking curiosity and creativity while easing stress. But beyond that, they also give us a chance to see ourselves in a fresh light, separate from our daily struggles and expectations. When we remove ourselves from our usual surroundings, we break the cycle of stress and routine, allowing new thoughts and feelings to emerge. This process is deeply healing. Sometimes it opens the door to self reflection and renewed energy. Have you ever noticed how a simple walk in an unfamiliar park or a weekend getaway leaves you feeling lighter and more optimistic? That's because our brains thrive on novelty, routine, while comforting can also create mental stagnation. When we visit new places, our senses become more engaged. We take in new sights, smells, and sounds, all of which activate different areas of the brain. This stimulation can help improve mood, boost creativity, and even reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. And it's not just about the big trips or luxurious vacations. Those are wonderful, of course. But healing can also come from small, intentional moments of change. Even driving a different route to work, visiting a local farmer's market you've never been to, or sitting on a new park bench to journal can shift your mindset. These seemingly tiny experiences remind us that there's still mystery and beauty in the world and in ourselves. The ordinary becomes extraordinary when viewed through a fresh lens. Another powerful element of being in a new environment is the sense of possibility it brings. When we step outside of what's familiar, we open ourselves up to fresh perspectives. Suddenly, things that once seemed overwhelming start to feel more manageable. A change in scenery can serve as a reminder that life is full of opportunities and that our problems are not as permanent as they sometimes seem. There's also something freeing about stepping into a space where no one knows your story. That's right. You get to be just you, not the version of you that's tied to the titles, routines, or past mistakes. In a new environment, we often feel more present, more in tune with ourselves. It's almost like the world pauses just long enough for us to catch our breath and ask, what do I really want right now? Mia, a teacher from Seattle, shares how solo weekend retreat to a quiet coastal town helped her rediscover her love for writing after years of creative burnout. Marcus, a father of two, talks about how taking his kids on spontaneous day trips to different neighborhoods in their city helped them bond and reignite his own sense of adventure. Beyond the personal benefits, new environments also allow us to connect with others in meaningful ways, whether it's striking up a conversation with a stranger in a new coffee shop or experiencing a different culture firsthand. Exposure to new places fosters empathy and broadens our worldview. We learn that there are countless ways to live, love, and navigate life, and that realization can be incredibly freeing. Let's not overlook how new environments can help us rediscover parts of ourselves we may have forgotten. You might remember how much you enjoy photography while snapping pictures in a botanical garden you just found. Or maybe a street performer reminds you of your old dream to dance or sing or act. These little moments can rekindle passion that have been buried under the weight of everyday responsibilities. And here's something fun. The more often you seek out new environments, the more you train your mind to stay curious. That's right, stay curious. That curiosity spills over into other areas of life. Suddenly, you're more open to new friendships, new hobbies, and new ways of thinking. It's like unlocking a secret door to more vibrant living. Before we wrap up this segment, let's talk about something important. You don't have to go far to experience the healing effect of a new environment. Sometimes the smallest change, like trying a new cafe, can shift your perspective. Even rearranging your furniture or spending time in a different part of your city can bring fresh energy into your life. The key is to remain open to change and willing to embrace new experiences, no matter how big or small they may be. So, the next time you're feeling stuck, stressed, or just a little uninspired, ask yourself this: where's one new place I can go today, even if it's just a different park bench or a side street I've never walked down? You might be surprised by how much lighter you feel afterward. In the next segment, we'll explore how stepping into unfamiliar spaces help us grow in unexpected ways. Segment 2: How New Experiences Spark Personal Growth. One of the best things about exploring new places is the personal growth that comes with it. When we push ourselves beyond our comfort zones, we learn resilience, confidence, and even new ways of thinking. Every new place has something to teach us. The lessons may not always be obvious at first, but when we reflect on the experiences, we begin to see how they shape us in ways we never expected. Growth isn't always comfortable, but it's always valuable. And here's the thing: we often underestimate how much we're capable of until life nudges us into the unfamiliar. That nudge might be a planned vacation, a job change, or just a spur of the moment detour. However, whatever form it takes, that moment of stepping into something new begins to shift our perspective. Suddenly, we're not just surviving, we're growing. Stepping into unfamiliar territory forces us to problem solve, adapt, and embrace change. Think about it. When you travel somewhere new, even if it's just a short trip, you're automatically faced with the decisions you don't normally make. You might have to figure out directions, try unfamiliar foods, or navigate social situations with people who have different perspectives. These experiences stretch us. They teach us to trust ourselves, to be resourceful, and to have faith in our ability to handle the unknown. And let's be honest, sometimes it's in the little challenges that we find the most powerful wins, like finally figuring out public transit in a new city, or realizing you can enjoy a dinner alone and not feel awkward. I do that a lot. These moments may seem small, but they create a ripple effect. They build confidence one success at a time. There's also something deeply empowering about making choices outside of our usual environment. In our day to day lives, we tend to operate on autopilot, making decisions based on habits. But when we step into a new place, we're more present. We have to pay attention to make intentional choices, and that awareness brings growth. We learn more about what we enjoy, what excites us, and what we're capable of achieving. Lisa, who spent years afraid of traveling alone, shares how a last minute road trip to a nearby town boosted her self confidence and taught her that she's stronger than she thought. For Lisa, stepping outside of her comfort zone wasn't about going to an exotic location. It was about proving to herself that she could be independent. And that's a powerful lesson. Sometimes we don't realize how much we've been holding ourselves back until we take that first step into something unfamiliar. Once we do, we start to see that we are more resilient than we ever imagined. And don't forget, personal growth doesn't always look big and bold. Sometimes it's subtle. It's that quiet moment of peace when you realize you're not as anxious in a new place as you used to be. It's the smile you give yourself when you handle a situation you once would have avoided. Growth can be loud, yes, but it can also be a whisper that says, you've changed in the best way. Another incredible thing about new experiences is how they expand our understanding of what's possible. When we engage with different cultures, meet new people, or even just shift our environment, we start to see life from fresh perspectives. This shift can be especially powerful for those of us who feel stuck or uninspired. It's easy to get caught in the cycle of self doubt or routine, but exploring something new reminds us that the world is vast and full of opportunities. Jonah, in accounting, reflects on how taking a work assignment in a different state forced him to adapt, ultimately leading to newfound independence and a more open mindset. Jonah experience highlights another key aspect of personal growth: adaptability. When we allow ourselves to be placed in new situations, we become more flexible. We stop fearing change and instead start to see it as an opportunity. Jonah could have resisted the move, stayed within his comfort zone, and missed out on the chance to evolve. But by embracing the challenge, he not only grew as a professional, but also as a person. Another important part of personal growth through exploration is learning how to let go of control. When we're in familiar places, we tend to stick to routines. But in a new environment, we have to go with the flow. Maybe you get lost while driving through an unfamiliar city or have to communicate with someone who speaks a different language. These moments teach us patience, adaptability, and trust in the journey. And let's not forget the magic of rediscovering who you are outside of your usual roles and responsibilities. When you're in a new place, you're not just someone's coworker, parent, partner, or friend. You're just you. You're just you. That clarity allows you to reconnect with your passions, your dreams, and maybe even pieces of yourself you forgot existed. Travel and exploration don't just change the way we see the world, they change the way we see ourselves. They help us recognize our strengths, our courage, and our capacity to evolve. And sometimes we don't even realize how much we've grown until we look back and see just how far we've come. When we expose ourselves to the unknown, we allow space for transformation. And sometimes the biggest growth happens in the most unexpected places. Maybe it's during a solo hike when you finally feel at peace with yourself. Maybe it's in a bustling new city where you find the confidence to speak up and connect with strangers. Whatever it is, new experiences remind us that growth happens when we step beyond what's familiar. In our next segment, we'll talk about how new places can bring clarity, helping us see life's challenges in a new light. Segment 3: Gaining clarity through change of scenery. Ever notice how some of your best ideas come to you when you're away from home? A change of scenery has a way of clearing mental fog and offering fresh perspectives. When we remove ourselves from familiar spaces, we give our minds the freedom to reset. There's something powerful about stepping outside of our usual environments, our homes, our workplaces, our daily routines, and allowing ourselves to exist in a space that doesn't carry the weight of our daily responsibilities. Our brains are wired to recognize patterns, and when we're stuck in the same routine, our thinking can become repetitive. But when we place ourselves somewhere new, our senses wake up. We notice different sights, sounds, and smells, and suddenly our minds start making fresh connections. This is why so many people find clarity when they travel, go for a long drive, or even just sit in a park they've never been in before. And sometimes it's not even about doing something grand. It's about giving your mind a chance to wander without the usual background noise. You could be watching waves crash on the shoreline or sitting in a quiet cafe with a notebook in front of you, and suddenly a solution to something you've been wrestling with just clicks into place. That's the magic of a mental shift brought on by a new space. Derek was struggling with a career decision. Explains how a simple hike in the mountains gave him the clarity to finally make a bold career move. Derek's story is a great example of how stepping away from the noise of everyday life can bring unexpected answers. When we're surrounded by stress and overthinking, it's easy to feel stuck. But in nature, away from distractions, Derek was able to listen to his intuition. There's something about the simplicity of a quiet place. whether it's a mountain trail, a beach, or even a quiet coffee shop. That's that allow us to hear our own thoughts more clearly. For many of us, a change of scenery is exactly what we need to break from overanalyzing. Sometimes we don't need to think harder. We need to give ourselves space to breathe. And when we do, the answers often come naturally. It's also worth noting how stepping outside of our usual surroundings help us tap into a more intuitive part of ourselves. In our regular environments, we tend to overthink, weigh pros and cons endlessly, and second guess every move. But when we get away from that setting, even briefly, it's like the fog lifts. We can actually hear that quiet inner voice that says, "You already know what to do." And that moment of realization can be life changing. Another way new places help us gain clarity is by shifting our perspective. When we step out of our familiar surroundings, we're reminded that the world is bigger than our current problems. A situation that felt overwhelming at home might seem more manageable when viewed from a different angle. Sometimes it's not the place itself, it's the distance from what's been weighing us down. We carry so much emotionally in our daily environments. That tension of unread email, the reminders of arguments, the clutter of responsibilities. But stepping away gives us the opportunity to see things more clearly, like zooming out on a map. From that higher vantage point, everything looks a little more manageable. Sophia, dealing with a difficult breakup, recounts how a spontaneous weekend trip with friends helped her gain a new outlook on love and healing. Sophia's experience highlights another powerful effect of new environments. They help us see beyond our immediate emotions. When we're in pain, everything can feel magnified and it's hard to imagine moving forward. But being in a new place, surrounded by different energy, can remind us that life goes on and that joy is still possible. Whether it's a weekend getaway or even just visiting a new part of town, stepping outside our usual space can give us the perspective we need to heal. There's a quiet kind of clarity that comes when we're not being constantly reminded of what hurts. The same streets, the same reminders, the same conversations. They can keep us stuck. But one afternoon, walking along a new trail, laughing with friends you haven't seen in a while, or sitting under unfamiliar stars, that can spark joy. That can spark hope. And from hope, clarity begins to grow. Another reason a change of scenery brings clarity is that it reminds the external influences that clouds our judgment. At home, we're constantly receiving input, opinions from family and friends, social media, the weight of our responsibilities. But when we go somewhere new, even for a short time, we can hear our own inner voice more clearly. It's in those quiet moments, watching the sunrise from a different city, taking a long walk in a foreign neighborhood, that we often find the answers we've been searching for. And let's not forget how important it is to simply pause. We live in a world that encourages constant movement, constant doing, but clarity often comes in the stillness, in the in between moments, in the spaces where we allow ourselves to just be. Whether it's sipping tea on a balcony overlooking a new view, or journaling while watching the world pass by. Those moments create a space for insight, reflection, and peace. A fresh environment gives us a break from the noise of daily life, allowing space for deep reflection. So the next time you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or uncertain, consider taking even a small step into a new environment. It doesn't have to be dramatic, just different, enough to spark something inside of you. Because clarity, like growth, often awaits just beyond what we know. And that's why in the next segment, we're going to talk about the emotional renewal that comes with exploration and the joy of embracing the unexpected. Segment 4: The joy of embracing the unexpected. Sometimes the best part of exploring new places is the unexpected moments that make life richer. Whether it's meeting new people, stumbling upon hidden gems, or simply discovering something new about yourself, these experiences remind us that life is full of surprises. One of the greatest lessons travel teaches us is that no matter how much we plan, life will always throw a few surprises. And more often than not, those surprises are the best part of the journey. When we step outside our comfort zones, we open ourselves up to serendipity, the little magical moments that can't be scheduled or anticipated. And let's be real, some of the best stories come from things that didn't go according to plan, like missing a train and ending up in a completely different city for the night, or trying a different restaurant you found by accident and discovering the best meal of your life. It's those moments that stick with us, not because they were part of the itinerary, but because they made us feel alive. How many times have we tried to control every little detail, only to realize later that the best memories were the ones we never saw coming? There's something liberating about surrendering to the moment, allowing the universe to take the wheel, and trusting that things will unfold as they should. Jasmine, who took a wrong turn on a road trip, found herself in a charming small town that ended up becoming her favorite getaway spot. Jasmine's story is a perfect example of how the unexpected can lead us to some of the most cherished places and experiences. A simple wrong turn, something that could have been frustrating, turned into an opportunity for discovery. When we let go of frustration and embrace curiosity, we create space for joy and adventure. Who knows what we might find when we're open to the unknown? The unexpected also has a way of teaching us to be present. When we don't know exactly what's coming next, we have no choice but to live in the moment instead of worrying about what's ahead. We focus on what's right in front of us: the sights, the sounds, the people, the emotions. And then that's when we feel truly alive. And sometimes it's in those unscripted moments that we reconnect with ourselves. Maybe it's a conversation with a stranger who unexpectedly inspires you, or a quiet moment in nature that reminds you of what really matters. The beauty of these experiences is that they come when we least expect them, and they often bring the clarity or joy we didn't even know we needed. Tony, who had always stuck to strict travel plans, talks about how letting go of control on a trip to Europe led to some of the most memorable moments of his life. Tony's experience highlights another important lesson. Sometimes the most beautiful experiences come when we stop trying to control everything. His story is a reminder that structure and planning have their place, but so does spontaneity. When we stop trying to force an outcome, we make room for the magic to happen. And here's the best part: this ideal isn't just for big trips or international adventures, it applies to everyday life too. Maybe it means saying yes to an invitation you wasn't expecting. Maybe it's walking into a new bookstore and chatting with the owner. Maybe it's taking a detour on your way home just to see where the road takes you. The beauty of embracing the unexpected is that it keeps life fresh, exciting, and full of possibility. So don't be afraid to let go a little. Leave room for surprise, for spontaneity, for the joy of not knowing. Because sometimes the thing you never planned for turns out to be the very things your heart needed most. There's a special kind of joy that comes with trusting the journey, even when you don't know exactly where it's leading. And that brings us to our final segment, where we'll tie everything together and talk about how you can incorporate the healing power of exploration into your life every day. Segment 5: Bringing the healing power of exploration into everyday life. Now that we've explored all the ways new places can heal, transform, and inspire us, how can we bring this energy into our daily lives? You don't have to travel far to benefit from new experiences. Simple shifts like trying a new route to work or spending time in a different park can have a lasting impact. Exploration is about more than just movement. It's about perspective. It's about waking up with the mindset that today is a new adventure, no matter where you are. Even the smallest changes in your routine can create a sense of discovery. Try switching up your environment in ways that feel exciting and doable. If you usually take the same route to work, challenge yourself to find a new way. If you frequent the same restaurants, pick a cuisine you've never tried. If you spend your weekends at home, consider exploring a new neighborhood, a museum, or even a nearby nature trail. The key is to keep yourself open to fresh experiences, no matter how small they seem. Beyond physical location, exploration can also happen within. Reading books from different cultures, listening to music from different countries, or even striking up conversations with people outside of your usual circles can expand your world in meaningful ways. The goal is to continue growing, learning, and embracing life with curiosity. At the heart of it all, exploring new places is about allowing ourselves to experience life more fully. It's about breaking free from routine and opening ourselves up to the beauty of discovery. When we embrace new experiences with an open heart, we allow life to surprise us in the best ways possible. Some key takeaways. Number 1, new environments refresh the mind and soul. Number 2, stepping outside of your comfort zone sparks personal growth. Number 3, a change in scenery brings clarity and fresh perspectives. Number 4, embracing the unexpected adds excitement and renewal to life. And number 5, exploration doesn't require travel. It's about mindset and openness. If you love this episode, and I hope you did, be sure to give us a 5-star rating. Share it with someone who needs a little inspiration. And let us know Where's a place you've explored recently that brought you joy? I love to hear from you. Until next time, keep embracing new experiences and living life with passion. See you in the next episode. This is Sunshine, signing off.